On January 10th of this year, I went on a cruise to Nassau. Nassau? Nassau?
Nassau.
I've heard it all, but it's the capital city of the islands of the Bahamas, and this is the first time I've ever been on a cruise ship, first time I've ever left the country in my entire life. I had to buy a passport. It was an entire process. And if there are people like me out in the audience who are completely new to travel, then this video might be for you. I plan on going over the highlights of my entire trip, what it's like to be on a cruise, non-American soil, and everything in between, so buckle up. We're going to the airport. It's actually warmer here. So warm. As you can tell, I'm very fun at parties. Maybe it's my inner commentary channel trying to find something to complain about. I'll try to make a video essay for you guys about warmth and the effect that it has on my body. So it was time to board the cruise, and the cruise doesn't usually leave the port until all of the passengers are accounted for, and they're making sure the ship is ready to sail. So you know, all that ship. We arrived at about 11 a.m. and the ship started making its way over to the Bahamas from Florida at around dinner time, 5 or 6 p.m. Dinner took place at this really fancy spot. We had the best of the best service, and here are some good examples of it. We practically became friends with the waiters and the restaurant manager. One of the waiters, his name is Glad. He was doing some magic tricks for us, and he was really funny. Another waiter was really funny as well. I went with my boyfriend's family on the cruise, and they're Vietnamese, and someone mentioned pho in passing as like a joke, and then the restaurant manager went, "We'll make that for you." We thought he was bluffing until he brought out like 8 bowls of pho that he had the chefs make, and it was completely free of charge, wasn't on the menu, I might add. So getting to the Bahamas from Florida took a couple of days, and there were a lot of factors that went into that. It usually takes a shorter amount of time, but there were delays from issues like high winds. Luckily, there were plenty of activities to pass the time with on the boat, because that is the entire point of a cruise. Idiot. Royal Promenade is a really good place to shop if you want to get like clothes and ice cream charged to your room, but there are plenty of like free options as well. A coffee place with nice desserts. The buffet is open for a good majority of the day. My personal favorite is a place called Sorrento's Pizza. Okay quality food, and you're allowed to take the food back to your cabin. It's open until 2 a.m., so if your sleep schedule is as fucked as mine is, then pizza time.
There are cars there, motherfucker!
Alright, so we got ourselves a little room tour. So this is a old ass TV. It was made in 1976, and it is like boiling hot for some reason. We got our own balcony. This is the small ass fucking bathroom. It can only fit one midget in here. Wait, no. Is that offensive? No. One small person in here. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Aren't cruise ships in the news for having certain outbreaks of a certain disease that's going on in the world right now? Well, yes. In fact, I was on the last cruise before the CDC changed their guidelines and Royal Caribbean had to shut down again, so lucky me. But that doesn't mean that nobody was safe. Royal Caribbean was very adamant about trying to stop the spread. They had strict rules in place, and if you didn't follow it, you were given a warning. Before every meal, they had us wash our hands. You weren't allowed to grab anything at the buffet, and people had to hand it to you. Hand sanitizer dispensers were placed all throughout the ship, and you had to keep a face mask on practically everywhere besides your cabin. This didn't hurt my experience, though. I still had a good time, and I was honestly relieved that the cruise line cared so much about our safety. Even the people of Nassau were adamant about keeping face masks on at all times. Someone even stopped us from entering a store until we put hand sanitizer on. considering safety, they did an awesome job, and it just really sucks that we might have to wait a little bit before we do any future cruises. Now, there's one last subject that I want to delve into before I let you guys go. The cruise had 2 different stops. It was Coco Cay and then Nassau. Coco Cay is an island that Royal Caribbean bought in the Bahamas. It's their island. It's basically just like a giant water park beach attraction area, but there's only so much I feel I can say about giant water slides. Like, besides the fact that I felt like I was going to die from like water being splashed repeatedly in my breathing holes, it's not that interesting of a subject to me. No, the last subject that I really want to talk about is like Nassau itself, because I find its culture like quite fascinating. Compared to other tourist stops, let's say for example Paris. Paris has a lot of tourist destinations, but like notice how like the tourist destinations don't take up the entirety of France. I feel like the entire Nassau Island could be considered an area for tourists. Is that fair for me to say? Yeah, people live, work, and they function in Nassau, but I'm under the impression that like one of the island's main functions is just to be a cruise stop. Even the island's website says it. It's nothing but like giant hotels and shops as far as the eye can see. And my experience when I first walked onto the island, there was this little building on the way in, and I got my passport stamped up. And then what followed was like a giant crowd of people and a bunch of colorful little stands with knickknacks on them. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. When I got onto the island, I had to get into the habit of saying no to people, because certain islanders will try to sell you things, and they use a certain sales tactic that I don't like. Which is called force. Now, they don't actually force you to do anything, but like they will walk up to you and they will offer you their product. It can either be a knickknack for you to take home, or they'll offer you a tour of the island and say that they have the best price. That's usually their hook, is that they have the best price of anybody.
I know I got the best price for you.
Now, I'm not stopping you from buying anything or taking a tour. Nassau has some of the best gifts for every type of person, but some people tend to avoid those things because the cruise, like, is it responsible for these people? The likelihood of you getting ripped off in the long run is higher than if you went to an event that was actually like created by the cruise. I'm not saying that you'll get ripped off 100%. You could get ripped off almost anywhere, not just Nassau, but it is a higher chance, so just be cautious of it. Also, I'm trying to say that if you're attempting to flee the country, I wouldn't take a cruise to a giant tourist spot. So how exactly would I summarize the cruise? Honestly, it's pretty fun and I would do it again. I could even see it being more fun if certain restrictions are lifted and more people eventually go back on the cruise. I think the lack of people made the singing shows, the ice skating show, and the comedy show like a little awkward.
Give me a moment. Hey, I made it!
But yeah, I totally do it again. And I think that this is a good first step for getting into traveling. Maybe one day I'll get to tour the world. So thank you for watching this video that I made for fun. I make videos at my own schedule, so honestly, if you haven't unsubbed already, I'd probably do it now. It's like 360 videos, like hardcore Henry.